Drugs. See y'all go in the park. System overload.
What's going on, full-time family? You guys ready to start the show? It's Monday, August 27th, and we got a lot to talk about. But we're gonna preview, or we're gonna recap actually UFC Lincoln. But we got a world premiere. You know, I got a bone in me last night. We got Tyron Woodley versus Darren Till. I just got a wild hair. I said, yo, it's your boy MMA Yankovic in the building. And by the way, we did start that second channel. So I'm going to start putting all of the little MMA songs we do, the parodies. I'm going to put those over on that channel. Who knows? Maybe, I don't know. I just figured it'd be a good idea. So I want to get that channel to 1,000 subscribers as well. So, but we're going to premiere it right here. We're going to premiere it after. Actually, we're going to premiere it first. Let's do that first. Where's it at? Yeah, we're gonna premiere it first. We did the Fifi beat, full-time family. If you guys don't, I mean, it's a minute and a half. If you don't like it, skip past it if you're listening on the replay. And if you're here now, it's a world premiere. It's a parody. Have some fun, or mute the shit for the next minute and a half, and then we're gonna start the show. But we got a long show today. We might even get the panel toward the end of the show. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, that's happened over the weekend. I mean, the UFC Lincoln results. There's just a lot going on. Of course, UFC 228 is next week, so a lot to talk about. But without further ado, let's hit the world premiere of Darren Till versus Tyron Woodley. Let's go. This is not mastered by Stockton Slaps. Darren Till's a bit fat, he can't make weight, and he's probably fucking racist, so I have to cave his face in. I'ma beat this motherfucker, he shouldn't even be in front of me. Got pushed up to the top, he want my spot, so now he's gonna meet a beast. I'm the chosen one, I hit like a loaded gun. That right when I throw you done. One strike and he's on the run, and I'm coming for you. Darren Till's next. Yeah, I'm coming for you, booger eating motherfucker. You could put roids in your boogers, but you still couldn't beat me, cause I'm one of the greatest and you can't see me like Stevie. And yeah, I'm coming for greatness. If they want try me, come test me. And that's for Nick and Nate Diaz, Colby, you're even GSP, because I'm ready. And don't come in heavy, little bitch. Alright, it's time for Darren. I don't really want no friends. Booger Bash 2018. Where's forward at? I don't really want no friends, no. I said, I don't want no friends. World premiere. I said, I don't want no fucking friends. Tyron, why you crying? Long as I make weight, we're finding. We will fight this weekend. We will find if I'm as weak as you say. But I do say if I win, then no excuses. No 30% bullshit like your boy KAMARU Usman. You're the champ right now, but we both know that I'm the future. Gorilla Smash 2018, Booger Bash 2018 is the movement. UFC 228, let's do it. Alright, family, that's the world premiere. Like I said, it is not mastered by Stockton Slaps. That was not produced professionally. That was just some shit I put together. But yeah, Darren Till versus Tyron Woodley. Y'all fucking ready for that. But most recently, Saturday night, we had James Vick versus Justin Gaethje, the main event. Holy smokes. First round KO for Justin Gaethje. Michael Johnson got a much-needed win. We're going to break that down and recap that. But give a few more people in the full-time family. You know, the notification bells don't work, so fuck it. You know what I'm saying? We're still starting the show. Like I said, we might be here for 2-3 hours. So, well, and we might even get a panel going. Who knows? This could end up being a pretty long show, depending on how long these topics go. We're going to break down the card. And so, without further ado, I mean, while this is still relevant, let's run our Michael Johnson versus Justin Gaethje Blake Shelton remix, our parody that was remastered by Stockton Slaps. Yeehaw, motherfucker. Y'all know what time it is.
It's full time. It's full time.
MMA.
Well, the boys round here don't have no fear. James Vick's been talking shit, so I'ma kick him in his rear. I'ma kick him in his legs, then I'ma punch him in his ear. Yeah, I'ma knock this fucker out, then I'ma buy us both a beer. You see, I've had a long day with training and stacking hay, so I don't got time for all your bitching and whining. I don't know what you were thinking when you signed up to fight me at UFC Lincoln, but you had to be drinking. You had to be thinking that you were actually decent, but I'm about to prove you not when I beat your ass this weekend. They call me Justin Gaethje, and I know you fucking hate me, but the fans all love me, and you they don't fuck with. Beat your ass, then get another truck with the money that I won and give the rest to my honey. See, the boys round here don't We're fighting in the UFC and it's just you and me. Sing along while I get me a beer. Yeehaw! See the boys round here don't have no fear. We're fighting in the UFC and it's just you and me. Sing along while I get me a beer. Yeehaw! Wow, Justin Gaethje, it's clear that you're fucking crazy. If you think that you can see me, I'm John Cena and you're Stevie. We both know that you can't beat me. You're riding a losing streak. In your fight IQ, it stinks. Every fight you be taking beatings, and I'm not gonna take it easy. Yeah, I'm coming for your rank, and I'm coming to put that performance of the night bonus in the bank. And I'm not the one to play with, most dangerous and underrated. If you ain't know, they call me James Vick, and now let me hear you sing it. The boys round here don't have no fear. We're fighting in the UFC and it's just you and me. Sing along while I get me a beer. Yeehaw! See the boys round here don't have no fear. We're fighting in the UFC and it's just you and me. Sing along while I get me a beer. Yeehaw! What is up, full-time family? It's time to start the show. I see we got one bagel biter in here. Trevi McTrev can eat these motherfucking nuts. You don't have to be here. No, I'm just fucking around. You don't enjoy the song, that's your prerogative. That's one of my favorites. So, hey, it is what it is. We're going to run that motherfucker every time we get the chance because it was professionally produced and remastered by Stockton Slap. Shout out to him on the remaster. What a job he did there. But, yeah, we're going to start the show off doing a recap over the fights this weekend. Holy smokes, what fights we had. I mean, all the way starting from the fight past prelims, the early submission in the very first fight of Rani Yahya and Luke Saunders. I mean, that started off the night. That was even before I started the fight companion. Pinhead said, I've been wondering, are you going to do McDonald versus Mousasi fight companion? It's a very real possibility if I'm not at work. It depends. If it's on a Friday, I might be at work. If it's on a Saturday, I definitely would. I'm going to be watching it. I hope I can watch that live. That would be crazy if I missed that card. I mean, that's also the same card as Rampage Silver 4. I think also it's kicking off the welterweight tournament with Koreshkov versus Lima, so I definitely want to watch that card. Going to be a big night for Bellator. 64 Space is TLC Creep remix to the Bagel Biting Shadow banners. That'd be funny. Remove Lizard said, respect full-time. What's up, Remove Lizard? We got 14 people watching. What's going on, full-time family? Do me a favor, hit thumbs up if you're finished biting your bagels. We got Chris Pierno in the building, Susie Campa, Remove Lizard, 64 Spades. What's going on, you guys? So we're going to do a quick recap of UFC Fight Night, Gaethje versus Vick, and then we got quite a few news topics to cover. And then we might even get a live panel going at the end of the show, depending on how long this goes, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I haven't even been able to organize the show yet, so these might be a little out of order. I usually like to put those in order, but hey, let's start off at least with Rani Yahya versus Luke Saunders. They were the first fight of the night. We're just going to go over the recap, the results right now. We're not going to really break down each of these fights, but we had Rani Yahya with that first round submission over Luke Saunders. Luke Saunders needed that win. But Rani Yahya, man, very experienced, was able to get that first round submission, dragged him to the ground. I believe he won by heel hook. We had Drew Dober versus John Tuck. Drew Dober grinded out the unanimous decision over John Tuck. Strong wrestling, hometown crowd on his side, you know what I'm saying, got that decision. We got Chris Houghton in the building. What's going on? Trevi Trev says professional, so they polished a turd. He says, it doesn't rhyme at all. It's super hacky, like the first okay, but my God. Hey, man, to each their own. You think it's a turd? To me, it's a motherfucking diamond. You know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Super hacky. I mean, I'd like to hear yours. You know what I'm saying? Call me motherfucking full-time Yankovic. And if you don't like it, like I said, skip past it, hit the mute button, or keep hating. It ain't gonna bother us. Drew Dober won a unanimous decision over John Tuck. Grinded that out with his wrestling. We had Joanne Calderwood took on Kalindra Faria. Man, she was kind of getting clipped up in that first round, but she ended up getting that triangle armbar at the end of the first round. Very impressive win for Joanne Calderwood there. She at 125, she was moving up, taking on Kalindra Faria, who had a little more experience, but JoJo got the job done at the very end of the first round. It was kind of crazy. I didn't expect it. I thought she was just going to go about to go into their corners. She was going to be down a round, but she ended the fight with like 1 second left in the first round. 64 Space says full-time, still stand by what I was saying the other night, bro. Working on a few details. All right, man. All right. That weird guy says, what's good, family? Not much. What's going on, that weird guy? Good to see you in here. Trevi McTrev says, I'm trying to help you. I appreciate it, but you know what I'm saying? Thanks for the help, but I don't really need it. I'm gonna keep doing those. I have fun doing them, and it's better than all the other ones you can find. I mean, once you see fucking uh, Blake Shelton or Wiz Khalifa or some actual music artist come out here and start making MMA songs, or you know, there's just some professional ones out there you can point me to. Those will have to do, and it was very polished. So you know what I'm saying? We'll take it, but that weird guy says, "What's good, family?" We already responded to that. What's going on, brother? But yeah, we had Mickey Gall returning against George Sullivan. Both these guys from New Jersey. Mickey Gall got another submission, but this one was a quick first-round submission. He's already got wins over CM Punk, Sage Northcutt, and fucking, who's the other guy that fought CM Punk? Mike Jackson. So he hasn't beat the highest competition. Mickey Gall's still young in his game. He's still young in his career. He's like got fucking literally 5 pro fights. So he's great at jiu-jitsu. He's working on well-rounding out his game. I heard him on the Joey Diaz podcast with Joe Schilling. He's been, you know, living with Yves Edwards, training with Joe Schilling. You know, his jiu-jitsu may be rubbing a little bit off on Joe Schilling, who I think is going to be making his MMA fighting more in MMA over for Bellator. So he's learning some jiu-jitsu maybe from Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall, a little bit of kickboxing from Joe Schilling. So, you know, he's got some work, but he was able to get in here and get a nice first-round submission from George Sullivan. Remove Lizard says, keep doing songs full-time. Haters are just sad. That's what I'm saying. Where's yours? What do you got? What you got for me, man? You want to... we got the capabilities now. If you want to Skype in, if you want to Google Hangout, you can hop in and you can fucking let us know, you know, your best tune. And if not, you know, like I said, you can just keep hating from the sidelines. That weird guy says, we all allowed opinions, bro, but easy killer, we be jamming to these joints, bro. That's what I'm saying. I be jamming the fuck out. Honestly, the new one I just did, the Fifi, wasn't my favorite, but hey, like I said, I did that motherfucker in 2 hours. I'm not spending no week. I'm not getting paid for it. It's something to do for fun. So if you don't like them, if they're not for you, that's not your cup of tea. Everybody doesn't like the same shit. You're probably listening to fucking Cannibal Corpse, and more power to you. I fuck with Cannibal Corpse. It's one of my cousins, you know what I'm saying? But of course you don't like what the fuck I'm doing. EBS Reebok says, anybody wanna SJS? What the fuck is that? A S something else. Anybody wanna spy? Anybody wanna spy? Chill. Chill. Jorge won $2.99 in the super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. What the fuck is this? The money channel, says Nate Diaz. We're going to be talking about Nate Diaz pretty soon. Nate Diaz and Bruce Buffer having a little bit of a Twitter spat. But yeah, thank you very much for the $2.99 Jorge won. But yeah, man. We had Mickey Gall from first round submission. Now he's 4-1 in his pro career. See where he can go from here. This was a winnable matchup for him. He came in as the favorite, pretty big favorite. George Sullivan did have some losses via submission in his record, so Mickey Gall was able to get the fight where he needed it to get that first round submission. So big win from him, bouncing back off that loss to Randy Brown, who actually, you know, bloodied Mickey Gall pretty bad, beat him up. He wasn't able to find that submission, so bounced back with the big first round submission over George Sullivan. Then we had Andrew Sanchez versus Maluco Perez. Given Surname says Mickey Gall's callouts were weak as fuck. Diego Sanchez, why? Cherry picking? Yeah, he's cherry picking a little bit. I mean, you know, he called out Dan Hardy before that. He was retired, like trying to call him off the commentator's desk. But yeah, he's trying to finagle and finesse. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to. He can't fight everybody. He ain't gonna beat everybody. Maybe, but still get some clout. Maybe clout chasing a little bit off of Diego Sanchez, or you know, trying to get a big name under his resume. Because the rest of the guys he's beat, he doesn't really get much credit for. So he's trying to kind of just get a big name. Like, look, I can beat some of the best, and he's just working his way up there. I mean, he's 4-1. He's not supposed to be calling out fucking. You know what I'm saying? What he's fighting at welterweight. He's not supposed to be calling out fucking KAMARU Usman, or he's not supposed to be calling out Ponzinibbio. He's 4-1. I mean, he's kind of in a bad spot. It's hard to be 4-1 in the UFC. There's not going to be many gimme fights. So maybe he's trying to get, you know, Diego Sanchez. Yeah, he's maybe a little past his prime, or even Dan Hardy, you know, coming off the commentator's desk. And maybe cherry picking a little bit, but he, you know what I'm saying? He's kind of got to be smart with that. Only 5 professional fights. Like, that's why usually there's not many guys with that low of a record of that little fights in the UFC, because it's a fucking Shark Tank. But yeah, man, it does always come across. It does sound a little weird when, like, when he's calling out a guy that you know he feels like he can beat. That does feel a little weird. 64 Spades says, this is coming from a Conor fan, but is it me or does anyone else want to see Gaethje fight the top 3 or 4 in the division just to see what they're really made of? That's what he is, man. He's a fucking test. He's a wrecking ball. Yo, what the fuck? First round knockout. Holy shit, he didn't even take no damage. And homie was calling him Homer Simpson. He wasn't even able to hit him once, really. He wasn't even able to hit Homer. Boom. Wow. That's crazy. All that shit talking. And everybody, bro. It wasn't just James Vick fucking saying. People were counting him out. People were counting him out. People thought James Vick was going to come in here and fucking put an end to Justin Gaethje. They're like, oh, he's taking too much damage in his career. Like he's like fucking 18-18. He's only had 2 losses. How much damage did he take in those 18 wins? It's not like he's been fighting Poirier and Alvarez in the World Series of Fighting. People seen him in those 2 wars, those 3 wars, and they were like, oh, yeah, he's just taking way too much damage in his career just because you saw it. But he didn't lose before that. So he only really had 2 losses. So, but yeah, man, they counted him out. And then to come in this fight and fucking get the first round knockout and specifically not take any damage makes it that much sweeter. I'm sorry, bro. It has potential. I am a musician. All right, Trevi McTrev. Well, yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm not trying to write that for an album or, you know, musical composition. I'd put that shit together 2-3 hours. It's MMA related. Might be a little hacky, but it's supposed to be. It's literally supposed to be. Whenever I did the Damian Maya, Tyron Woodley backpack, it's all for fun. It's just for fun. I'm not trying to fucking win an Emmy with these things. Just having some fun. 64 Spades says, Gaethje fights like it's primal or like he's willing to die in there. Yo, nothing but respect for the motherfucking highlight Justin Gaethje. Bikini Doll says, Homer Simpson won, James Vick lost to a punching bag. That motherfucking, there's no way you can really just call him a punching bag at this point. Just because he gets in wars and brings the fight. People are, you know what I was saying? Back in the day, people would talk shit if fighters like ran in fights, if they were trying to fight smart per se, if they were trying to take as little damage as possible. Like, that's not what people looked at as fighters. And it's like Justin Gaethje's bringing the fight to people, entertaining everybody, and he's doing damage, but it's like people are acting like he's, when you want to talk about a punching bag, and no disrespect to this guy or these guys, but Darren Elkins is a guy who, he takes a lot of damage. His nickname is the damage. He takes a lot of damage and then he might come back. Justin Gaethje is not just taking damage. He's dishing out a lot of damage. He's not just a punching bag. So if there's anyone that you're going to call a punching bag, I think it should be a guy that's known for getting beat up and then coming back. That's a guy that's, if anything, he's getting beat the fuck up. Justin Gaethje, even, yeah, if he's eating some shots, he's dealing shots. He's bringing the fight to you. He's putting himself in those positions, but he's not just fucking running up at you and eating shots. He's fucking kicking your leg from under you or doing something or hitting you with big shots. So, I mean, Justin Gaethje, I think people who look at him as a punching bag, they got him underrated a little bit, just a little bit, especially after last night because he didn't even take any shots. Just a joke, dude. All right, well, you know, that's just for anybody that, you know, still feels that way, that might, you know, there's a lot of people that do look at that, and I was pointing that out even before the predictions, or even when I predicted Justin Gaethje to win. But yeah, Homer Simpson, man, got the job done. That was a good fight. We're gonna get to that though. Of course, we had also Andrew Sanchez versus Maluco Perez. Andrew Sanchez was able to use his wrestling style, get the win, grind out, didn't get caught in a submission by Maluco Perez, who he throws a lot of flashy, fun strikes and stuff. He seems like he's always having fun when he's fighting, but if he doesn't catch you, then you got the potential to probably beat him, and that's what happened here. Now, of course, he's dangerous off his back as well, but he wasn't able to get that submission over Andrew Sanchez, so Andrew Sanchez was able to get that unanimous decision win there. We had Corey Sandhagen versus Yuri Alcantara. Holy smokes. That was a hell of a fight right there. That could have been fight of the night, even though it didn't go on as long as most fight of the nights. You know that most fight of the nights are fights that end, like our wars that end, you see back and forth, back and forth. This was more like performance of the night, but the Corey Sandhagen looks like he might have fucking got his arm broken that first round. He was in like that triangle arm bar, and he was just letting his fucking arm get bent. He was like, I knew if I wasn't in a choke, I have to go to sleep, but I'm not tapping if it's just my arm. So I felt it cracking and breaking, but I just knew I wasn't going to tap. Then he ultimately got out. His arm looked fucking mangled at that point. He immediately started throwing it at Yuri Alcantara, fucking raining down the ground and pound, finished the first round strong, was able to actually, I believe, find the second round TKO. What a fucking performance from Corey Sandhagen. We'll have to see how his arm's doing after that fight, but he was in a fucking bad spot early in the first round from the vet Yuri Alcantara. He was able to pull it off. And then, of course, we had the main event of the Fox Sports 2 prelims, James Krause, Warley Alves. Holy smokes, people were counting James Krause out. I mean, he was fighting at lightweight before this. He had fought at welterweight also in the past, but he was fighting at lightweight, and he was coming up to welterweight in this fight against Warley Alves, who has an impressive submission win over Colby Covington. He's got a fight against KAMARU USMAN, one of the best welterweights in the world. So he's been in there with some tough guys. He's got some good wins, and he was fighting James Krause, the lightweight, coming up, and James Krause pretty much whooped him, won the first round. Well, that was unexpected, and then he was actually able to find the finish in the second, if I'm not mistaken. I forget if it was a submission or what it was. If it was a submission, I think. But he was able to get the finish, James Krause was. So that was actually a pretty big upset, him coming up. I don't know why this shit's looking like that. Yeah, he got the, okay, it was the second round TKO. You see that looking crazy. But second round TKO for James Krause. That was actually a great performance from James Krause coming up to welterweight. We got also starting on the prelims. Let me get back to where that's at. That's not where we were. All right, Gaethje versus Vick. There we are. Now that we got the main card, of course, to break down. Weezen336 says, "Who picked Gaethje to win Saturday?" You know we did over here at the Full-Time Family. Tiffany Ray said, "Well, I'm very disappointed. My sis Bikini Doll was joking. It's satirical because of James Vick." You know how that goes in the chat, man. Motherfucking, you can't read sarcasm in a chat, and it's a common point. A lot of people do feel that way. Before the fight, a lot of people felt that way. So you can't really read sarcasm in a chat. So I mean, even if you know what I'm saying, so don't take it personally. Whether it's not like I was like, "Oh no, fuck you, don't call him a punching bag. What were you thinking?" I was just, for anybody that does think he's a punching bag, that is something that a lot of people think. They do look at Justin Gaethje as more of a punching bag. The Homer Simpson joke, it rang because it was somewhat true. A lot of people felt that way. Like, he does get hit a lot. He did get hit a lot. That's why it was so ironic that he happened to not even get hit at all in the fight, really, before getting that first round knockout. It was a great performance for Justin Gaethje, but yeah. Tiffany Ray says, "Well, out here explaining to BD about not to call Justin Gaethje a punching bag." I didn't say not to call him that. I didn't come over here on some fucking social justice. Don't call him a punching bag. I just said he's not really a punching bag. And in my mind, whenever people use that word punching bag, it's not even really a good one for Justin Gaethje. More Rock'em Sock'em Robots is a better word for Justin Gaethje. I'm just saying there. In my, even before the fight, I don't know why we didn't think about that. There's guys that you could really call a punching bag out there. So nothing personal. There's just a lot of people that fucking think that. Ever Loves Drugs says, "Lost an ounce of weed betting on Vick." Yeah, damn, bro. So you should fuck with Mystic Full Time, man. I got the predictions on lock. Weezen336 says, "I did pick Gaethje to eventually find his way inside and KO Vick." Student Bahar Muhammad Ahmed says, "Hey, Full-Time Pal, is Kevin Lee versus Iaquinta fight official yet or not?" I don't think so. It's not official yet. I heard it might be possibly in the works, but there's been reluctance in the past. But I did hear that it was in the works. But also, I saw Kevin Lee respond to Justin Gaethje knocking out James Vick, and he just put like the emoji with a bunch of money signs on it. So he might be looking at a potential Justin Gaethje fight. Maybe Kevin Lee versus Justin Gaethje. So we'll see what's next for Kevin Lee. But he was saying he was training for UFC 229. But now with Ferguson versus Pettis booked, I don't know if he'll have an opponent or if he'll just serve. He's not even going to be the replacement with Tony Ferguson on the card. Potter Jr. says, "Vick comes from a boxing background. What was he doing?" Yo, he wasn't ready for that pressure Justin Gaethje applies, man, coming straight forward. Hey, what a fucking performance. Given Your Name says, "I think Vick was messed up coming in, to be honest. Either the weight cut or a KO during camp." And he cuts hella weight. Holy smokes, does he? He cuts so much weight. You saw him during the weight cut. He made the weight, but I'm just saying, he's a fucking big boy. Given Your Name says, "I mean, it was a good punch, but he went out so quick, it didn't seem right." Yeah, he went straight down, too. He went fucking down, just towered over. Big ass, just towered. Boom, it looked like his head crashed into the canvas and shit. But yeah, moving on, let's break down the main card because we do got a lot to talk about. So I'm gonna go back and forth between the chat because I really ain't got much to do today. I didn't get a fucking shift today, which is unfortunate. But hey, at least we got a lot of time for the show. Cam Murphy says, "What up, full time? Not much. What's going on, Cam?" Seismic Shock says Vick stuck to his game plan until he fell asleep, didn't he? Hey, GC4 Space says Vick felt like I do every time I go. I look up an instrumental and it doesn't exist. But yeah, man, to start off the Fox Sports main card, I feel your page, 64 Spades. Fox Sports main card started off with Eric Anders versus Tim Williams, and boy, did Tim Williams put up a fight. I mean, Eric Anders came in as a huge favorite in this fight. Former Alabama, of course, I believe linebacker. I mean, he won the national title with Alabama, so roll tide. He got the win there. Second round TKO, if I'm not mistaken. But the first round, Tim Williams was looking great. He might have fucked around and won the first round, actually. I didn't expect that. I was expecting a first or second round KO from Eric Anders. But even if it was the second round TKO that I was predicting, I didn't think Tim Williams was going to win that first round. He came in there, seemed like the much smaller fighter, and Eric Anders definitely took advantage of that in the second round. Just wasn't having no more shit. Just put it into the show. But Tim Williams looked great in the first round. Hell of a fucking fighter in there. He didn't come in there to just roll over in a fight that he was pretty much getting fed to Eric Anders, the national title winner with Alabama. So like Weezen336 says, roll tide. Bada Bing Jr. says, so many fighters fighting in an unadvisable weight class. Holloway, Ortega, McGregor, Till. Shit, James Vick. I mean, we can't talk. Well, McGregor, are you talking about when he fought at featherweight, or are you saying he still shouldn't be fighting at lightweight? But man, when you want to talk about anybody being heavy, fucking cutting hella weight, I want to know who cuts the most weight. James Vick might be one of them, honestly. I think he's a big dude. 64 Spades says that kick to the face was legal. His hand was on the ground. Oh, yeah, that was the kick to the face. That was, yeah, oh my. I forgot the exact fashion of the KO. But yeah, 64 Spades says it was legal. His hand was on the ground when the leg was moving forward. I'm not sure. I didn't see the super slow motion replay, but I feel like it was legal. I feel like he was on the way up. Maybe a fingernail was on the mat, but I don't think they're going to disqualify him just for a fingernail being on the mat. If that was the case, it was so close. I mean, hopefully there will be somebody that breaks that shit down. You know how people did the Wonder Boy. After Wonder Boy versus Till, you had motherfuckers doing the freeze frame videos. Like, look, every single strike, Wonder Boy won, damn it. So I wonder if somebody will actually do that, because I would love to see a video like that. Like, was his foot on the mat? But it really doesn't matter. The result is what it is. Maybe Tim Williams might even appeal or something on a technicality, but he was rocked leading up to that point. So it would really just be a technicality. Eric Anders did have him rocked when he was going to get up, so that kick to the face was crazy. Given Chair Name said I had to freeze frame it. It's like a fraction of a second after his hand comes up and that shin connects. Okay, if you freeze framed it, I'll take your word for it, given Chair Name. But yeah, it was so close. But it was a great fucking knockout, and it was picture perfect, man. That was one for the highlights too. That was crazy, son. But yeah, great performance there. And then we had Davison Figueiredo versus John Moraga. Davison Figueiredo took on top-ranked John Moraga. He looks like a beast. He might have a weakness if he has to fight a guy like a fucking Henry Cejudo. You know what I'm saying? Because he did have some troubles with Jared Brooks. He won the decision, but I had the win going for Jared Brooks. He was slamming him around, using his wrestling, got some slams. But it is what it is. The decision went for Figueiredo. He remained undefeated. Now he got a big opportunity against John Moraga, and he did not fucking waste it. He's been looking great in all of his fights, and he put himself on the map for sure last night because now he's 15-0, undefeated, likely going to be in the top 6 of the division, top 7 of the division now. So he definitely got a new face at flyweight. We're going to see what he can do. I think someone's going to beat him. I don't know who it's going to be. I think he would definitely have a tough matchup with the champion, Henry Cejudo, though, if you just saw his fight with Jared Brooks, who had really, even if you just look at the fight metrics here, it just looks like a robbery, right? Outstruck him, took him down 7 times, but, it is what it is. Maybe the judges, I think it was not only in Brazil, but also, maybe the judges didn't score the fight for Jared Brooks with his wrestling, just taking him down and not doing a whole lot. He didn't really, I guess, do a lot of ground and pound. So I felt like it was a fucking robbery, but you get the point. That's why I actually picked John Moraga to win that fight. But he came in and actually looked great. Davison Figueiredo did. Got the second round KO, TKO, and he's knocked out every opponent aside from Jared Brooks. So 15-0, dangerous fighter, fighting out of Brazil, got the red stripe in his hair and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. New face of flyweight. Let's see what happens. Eric Loves Drugs says full time. Did you see Khabib and DC getting into a friendly argument? Yes, I did. And DC at the end, Khabib forgot he was the double champ. That was so funny, bro. The dynamic between them is always hilarious. Even DC and Luke Rockhold. That's part of the reason I'm a big fan of DC. Even on the Tough House, DC's just a funny dude. You know, he gets into it with people like those friendly little. He does it with Khabib, Luke Rockhold. I'm sure he does it with Kane as well. But yeah, that shit was funny. Seismic Shock said, I think Till versus Woodley will go down like Eddie versus Conor. I hope Woodley wins. I think he's the underdog. Right now, I think he might be a slight favorite, but I really think he's going to be an underdog by the time fight night comes. There's a lot of people that are picking Darren Till to knock Woodley out. There's a lot of people that think that's going to happen, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they bet on it. Everloves Drug says, Khabib, Ilmel Khabib, avert your eyes. Don't look at me in the eyes. yeah, that shit was classic, bro. But yeah, also on the fight card, after Moraga versus Figueiredo, we had Ellenberger versus Bryan Barberena. Bryan Barberena, of course, won that fight. And Jake Ellenberger actually retired in the octagon afterward. And that was actually, he was the one that, the last fight of Joe Ellenberger and now Jake Ellenberger. He got that first round KO, TKO over Jake Ellenberger. Jake Ellenberger was already coming into this fight on a 3-fight losing KO streak. Some of those were pretty brutal. So good to see him go out now 4 first round KO losses in a row. It's like, what do? You just come back to try and get that win, and then even if you get a win, then do you go out? So he also went out closer to his home crowd and also to the same guy that beat his brother, Joe Ellenberger. His very last pro fight actually was Bryan Barberena's first pro fight in the UFC. So a little bit of shared history there between the Ellenberger twins. Both of their last fights came to Bryan Barberena. But yeah, we also had on the main card, big win for Bryan Barberena though. On the main card though, Angela Hill versus Courtney Casey. What's your Pettis versus Ferguson prediction, says Mo Guti. Ooh, man. Pettis looked great with that submission over Chiesa, but I think I got to give the edge to Ferguson for sure. Hopefully, I mean, unless his leg is still broke, but I think he's healed. Great. A hard worker. I'm sure he worked fucking twice as hard through recovery. So the only reason I would pick Ferguson to lose that fight is if he had a bum leg. But a healthy Tony Ferguson, I think, actually beats Anthony Pettis. So that's my early prediction. Given your name says Pettis via extension cord. Yo, chill. Peter Fitznewell Spades says, thanks, given sure name. What's going on, Peter Fitznewell? Infamous says Seismic Shock. I don't see that Woodley is just too patient. That's what I'm saying. Woodley's such a fucking smart fighter. Like, it's going to be hard to just knock him out. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't just knock him out. But, you know, and a lot of people thought he could. I don't know. It's going to be a good fight. I can't wait. It's just 1 week away. It's just 1 week away. It's going to be fun. Bada Jr. says, would be funny to see Tyron the victimized one Woodley keep the belt for a while and make a name for himself by being so sensitive with race. I don't even know how much longer he's going to keep the belt, honestly. I think I think this is just a bad timing. The UFC, they might have fucked up on this one, man. Usually, I think the UFC knows what they're doing. They're fucking super smart. They're on their thug thizzle. You know what I'm saying? They know what they're doing a lot of the time. But I just really feel like as far as with Darren Till, they might have fucked up. They have to have a lot of belief in him because they could have kept his zero intact and maybe on a full camp, for better circumstances, one more fight against a top contender, maybe we could see Darren Till actually win that title. But I don't know. I just feel like right now it might be 1 or 2 fights early. Who knows? Maybe he does get the job done. If he does, I know, that's a cash cow for the UFC. Could you imagine that? Darren Till fucking speaks 2 languages, fucking undefeated champion. Like, he just has it all. He's got the confident trash talk. He's got it all. He would be a fucking, in my mind, a cash cow if he won the title while he was still undefeated. If he could beat Tyron Woodley, that's good for the UFC. But honestly, it's kind of like maybe a win-win for the UFC because I guess if Tyron Woodley wins, you still got Woodley versus Covington. And if Till wins, you got this fucking undefeated bilingual fucking champion. You know what I'm saying? Speaks Portuguese, reps the UK, reps Brazil. Everyone loves him. So either way, it's really like a win-win for the UFC. But you know what I'm saying? I just feel like might be a little early for Darren Till. Maybe he can get the job done. He's definitely not out of the fight. It's a close fight. I'm a fan of Darren Till, but just as of how we've saw both of these fighters lately, and Tyron Woodley is coming off of an injury. Got to keep that in mind. So, but they both fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and I think everybody would agree. Even if you think Wonderboy beat them both, there are some people that think Wonderboy beat Woodley, and I'm sure they also think Wonderboy beat Till. So even if you think Wonderboy beat them both, even if you're that guy, I think you would agree that Tyron Woodley had a better performance against Wonderboy than Darren Till was able to do. And that's even with Darren Till kind of having Tyron Woodley's blueprint to go into the fight with. He did fight a smart fight. So, I mean, there's that. And then also Tyron Woodley, I mean, if you just gave Darren Till like one more year, that's one more year of fights, one more year of maybe being content. Maybe Tyron Woodley gets a big movie. I'm just saying maybe one more year, Darren Till could actually came and took that title, and he still can this weekend. But I'm giving the slight nod to Tyron Woodley right now, and it is what it is. It's going to be a good fight, though. Mo Goody says, we just going to act like Till didn't get his ass whooped by Wonderboy. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people felt like Wonderboy won that fight, and then he missed weight. So the way he got the title shot, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, even though I don't expect him to turn it down. That's why I say I feel like the UFC fucked up a little bit there, because it's like, man, he has so much potential, and they just threw him in there. But it is what it is. They needed a main event. They are the UFC, so if they felt like they knew what they were doing making this fight. And like I said, if Till wins, it's still fucking, he's got a lot of potential, you know, to sell a lot of pay-per-views in my mind. But yeah, we got 23 people watching, 15 thumbs up. That's good to see. We got 3 people definitely going to be biting bagels throughout the show. But if you're not finished biting your bagel, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. We got a Courtney Casey versus Angela Hill. That fight took place before the co-main event. That was a good win for Courtney Casey. She won a decision. Was it the split decision or was it unanimous? It was a close fight. I remember it was like fight of the night. It should have been a split decision if I'm not mistaken. It could have went either way. Might have been unanimous. She was winner by decision. It doesn't say. I remember that was one of the fight of the night contenders, though. That was actually a fucking great fight. I do recall that. I just X'd out UFC.com. That's not what I wanted to do. Alright, there we go. Okay, but yeah, we'll go to the co-main event. Michael Johnson versus Andre Fili. But yeah, Courtney Casey, big win over Angela Hill. Michael Johnson, speaking of fucking big wins, he definitely needed this win here this weekend. He was on, lost 5 out of his last 6 fights. Fighting some of the best guys in the world. He's definitely one of the better fighters in the UFC, but he just couldn't get the win. He just could not get a fucking win to save his life. And he was saying he needs a win for sanity purposes here. He was actually able to get it against Andre Fili. These guys, this happens a lot with Michael Johnson. You know, he usually gets under his opponent's skin. I mean, he was doing it before the Justin Gaethje fight. Just a lot of his fights, the Poirier fight, he got under Poirier's skin. He gets into it. That's one of his games. He's down with the mental warfare. Somebody fucking said something on one of my Conor McGregor videos like, you really think fucking Conor McGregor's trash talk, calling Khabib's father out, has anything to do with the fight? Like, yeah, if you don't think that people can get emotional in a fight and that can affect them, you're just delusional in my mind. But Michael Johnson's a guy that loves to get under his opponent's skin, and he did it again here with Andre Fili. He was at the press conference. They were heated. I'm coming right the fuck at you, Andre Fili said, if I read his mouth correctly. And then even after the fight, he came out and had some disparaging words for Michael Johnson. But Michael Johnson, though, got the much-needed W, and that's all that matters for him because he really needed it. I believe he was on a 3-fight losing streak since losing to Justin Gaethje. He lost his featherweight debut. This was his 2nd fight at featherweight, made the weight cut, got the win. So much-needed win. Congratulations to Michael Johnson. And Andre Fili, man, he's actually got a movie coming out. He said he had like 6 actually good parts in the movie, too. He wasn't just, you know, he actually had some good parts. He plays like a pot dealer's fucking cousin or something, crazy cousin, something like that. So look for Andre Fili coming out with some new acting, you know. And he said it wasn't B-list. He made sure to say that. But, of course, we got the main event. Woodley wants you to back him into the fence, so said giving your name. That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you expect Till to do? Just back Woodley into the fence? That's literally what he wants you to do. He said that so many times in the Wonder Boy fight, in all of these fights, because, and I can just give you the exact reasoning because I've heard him say it so many times, he wants you to back him against the fence because that gives him all the room to either shoot for a takedown or fucking charge across with that overhand right, or however he's going to get you. You know, he's great at fucking exploding forward, and he uses that whole cage to do that. So he literally game plans for his opponents to come into him. So then, what do? Do you sit back like Wonder Boy? He still won that fight. So Woodley's really fucking hard to beat. You can't just beat him because you want to. It's going to be harder. And then on top of that that's another reason that I feel like it's hard to pick Till right now, because the weight cut. We don't know if he's going to have a fucking great weight cut. How can you bet on Till or even pick Till to win, not even knowing if he's going to have a good weight cut? You know, like, I know he had an excuse for the last one, a good excuse. The UFC backed him, fucking family emergency. I get it. But it wasn't his first time having a weight issue, and he's a very big dude. So what if he comes into the fight at fucking 90% just because of the weight cut? You know, we don't know. That's why I would have liked to see him, not only if he got one or two more fights, he could have fought, who knows, fucking Robbie Lawler, RDA. There's a lot of guys he could technically fight at the top. I mean, in the meantime, and not only would he show he can make the weight and fight healthily at the weight, but also we would have got to see Tyron Woodley maybe fight a couple more times. And so I just think maybe a year from now it would have been a good fight for Till, but he's in there now. Well, and he could potentially be fighting again. Taryn Till could lose and still fight again for the welterweight title in the future because he's still young compared to a lot of these top guys at welterweight. So we'll see what happens, man. But we had the main event, Justin Gaethje versus James Vick. Of course, first round KO for Justin Gaethje, the homer. I mean, the highlight, Simpson. I mean, the highlight. Yo, did he shut everybody the fuck up. Everybody, man. Everybody fell into it. James Vick, he convinced us. He was great trash talk. It wasn't just James Vick, but just we seen Justin Gaethje in 3 wars. So, you know, it was fair to say, yeah, he does take a lot of damage. That was a talking point before and after every fight. How long can Justin Gaethje fight like this? How long can he fight like this? But one of the things we really weren't pointing out is he only had 2 losses. We've only seen him in 3 wars. How many of us really watched his fights over at the World Series of Fighting? All 18 of them. Were all of those wars? Did he get beat up in all of those fights like he did in the Poirier-Johnson fight? Maybe he hasn't taken as much damage as you might think. Or, you know what I'm saying? And with that being said, he was also fighting the best fighters in the world. Fucking Dustin Poirier could be fighting for the title next. He fought Eddie Alvarez, former champion. So he was getting in wars and taking those guys to their fucking edge. The best fighters in the world. So Justin Gaethje definitely got underrated coming into this fight. A lot of people looked him over. James Vick had a great line, the Homer Simpson line. I thought it was hilarious. It was hilarious. It was a great joke. And I wasn't even thinking about, like I said earlier, why aren't we talking about like Darren Elkins? Justin Gaethje's at least dealing a lot of damage back, whether it's with his leg kicks or whatever, his hooks, whatever. Body shots, he's doing a lot of damage. He's like a fucking wrecking ball. And he came in here, and not only did he get the first round knockout over James Vick, who dubbed him Homer Simpson, he also didn't take much damage at all in this fight. So I don't think this fight could have went any better for Justin Gaethje at all. This was better than the classic Justin Gaethje war, of course, because he takes less damage, but also because the fashion he won over specifically who he won against. So what a motherfucking pleasant surprise last night from Justin Gaethje. He was ranked higher. Everyone said he was the underdog coming into the fight. So it is what it is, man. James Big Tree Fall Hard Vick said Peter Fitzwell Spades. Oh, God, you guys fucking killed me. You gotta chill. He said, yeah, dog, chill. John Doe said, MJ need to back up, if you ask me, need to go back up. He did say he wanted to go back up. He just didn't want to go to featherweight, lose, and run away. Like, oh, I lost at featherweight, let me go back up. He wanted to make sure he got one win in. He didn't want to run away from the challenge, and he got that. So he might return to lightweight. He actually did mention that. Weezen336 says it was funny until he got KO'd and made himself look worse by losing to Homer Simpson. That's what I'm saying. I mean, but I'm not going to lie. I still respect it because it made us want to watch the fight. It sold the fight. It made the fight that much more. Yeah, it didn't work out for him. But, I mean, yeah, he lost the fight. It is what it is. You win some, you lose some, you live to fight another day. You called him Homer Simpson. It was actually a good joke, but that's really the end of it. Is he actually a fucking yellow cartoon character? No. He's just joking about the fact that he gets fucking hit a lot. He felt like he was going to be able to pick him apart. He had to eat his words, but he's going to be back. Just because James Vick talks shit don't mean he's going to necessarily lose his next fight. You know what I'm saying? We don't know where James Vick is at in his career. We don't know how he's going to do against top 5 guys. He's been calling them out for a while. He just got a taste of Justin Gaethje, who's number 7, and it didn't go his way. So now James Vick, who is now 9-2 in the UFC, still an impressive record, he's just going to have to eat some humble pie and come back. But he can still win. He's still a very talented fighter, whether he lost or not last night. It was just he had to eat some crow. That happens sometime, though. Hey, as long as if I was him, just take that shit on the chin. I'm sure he's going to. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, talk some shit. What the fuck you gonna do about it? Can you whoop me? No, I'm just saying. James Vick, I still enjoyed everything leading up to that fight, the press conference and everything. So I wouldn't want to take that back just because the fact he might get knocked out. I'm sure in the back of his mind he should have knew he could get knocked out, and that's why I like what Justin Gaethje had to say before the fight. He was saying, like, I don't know what the fuck this dude's thinking. Like, he thinks I'm just gonna be some easy fight. I hope he really convinced himself that I do some damage. I've been fighting the best guys in the world. I'm gonna welcome him to the big show. Like Justin Gaethje, yo, that made the fight that much better. So let's go, man. James, what happened, Vic? Peter, chill. Peter, chill. I heard they're trying to book Big Gate Al versus Kevin Lee. I've heard that, as well as I saw Kevin Lee respond to the fight last night. He sent the money sign emoji to Justin Gaethje. So maybe we see Gaethje versus Lee, because it's kind of hard to put. I don't know when Iaquinta's going to fight. I do think he'll fight sometime, but it's going to be when he's ready. So I ain't putting the rush on him. I ain't holding my breath. If it gets booked, Lee versus Iaquinta 2, I would love that fight. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's going to happen or actually materialize. Potter Jr. says UFC's grand plan for the coming month is McGregor beats Habib, Diaz beats Poirier, Kukui beats Pettis, and Lee beats Iaquinta. You said that's their plans? Like, you think that that's their ideal situation? I mean, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think, yeah, fucking if some of those guys win. I don't even know about, yeah, I mean, of course, there's guys, if they win, it's better for business, but I don't know if it's a plan, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you can't really plan the result of McGregor versus Khabib. If Khabib mauls him, you know, it's fucking over. But yeah, of course, that would probably be the best for business. But what are you saying? Like, they could set up like a lightweight tournament? That would be. There's been talks of a UFC lightweight tournament. That'd be fun for sure. Christian Zimmerdahl says, James, I wish I was John Wick Vick. You guys gotta fucking chill. What the fuck? I wish I was John Wick Vick. Yo, we gotta move on to the news. Oh my God. That was crazy, Christian. You gotta chill. He said, James, I wish I was John Wick Vick. Oh my. Oh my. EBS Reebok says, I'm watching some shit called King of the Cage on TV right now. They fighting in a lobby at La Quinta Inn. Yo, that shit sounds lit. Weezer336 says Kevin Lee doesn't deserve to fight someone below him. That doesn't even sound right. You mean someone higher than him? You saying he should fight someone below him? He just beat Edson Barboza. John Doe says Al can be annoying, but I like to watch him fight. I like to watch him fight too. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Don't hold your breath for it, because he doesn't need it. He's got the real estate. Can't be mad at him. He ain't gonna take a bad deal. But shit, he's still there. When he fights, it's always fun to watch. Weeson336 says, but he has to do what he has to do to get to the top in the UFC's eyes. Student Bahar Muhammad Ahmed says, James Vick personally showed me in that fight that he's not ready for all the top lightweight guys yet. Yeah, man, he definitely can't beat everybody for sure. You know, there's some top guys up there that he can win some. He can win some and he can lose some, but he's not going to be the guy that runs through the division and clears it out and beats every fucking buddy. But that's really hard for anybody to do, honestly. Like, beat every single person. I mean, Max Holloway's a fucking beast, and he almost did that, but he's still got a couple fighters in Bryan Ortega and Frankie Edgar running around that he hasn't fought yet. So he's looking to clear out the division, but I mean, especially for James Vick, like, it'd be hard for him. I think even harder for him, because that lightweight division is so fucking stacked. But featherweight's pretty stacked too. John Doe says, I think Kevin Lee deserves a contender. I do too. I don't know exactly who it's going to be. Who's he? It's probably going to be Iaquinta or Gaethje. You know, right now we still got the McGregor-Khabib playing out. Of course, Ferguson up there, so he's probably going to get a... It doesn't necessarily have to be a contender next, because even if he beats a top contender, which they're all pretty much booked, he's not guaranteed a title shot. So he can fight one more guy like Gaethje or Iaquinta, and then he fights a contender if he wins that fight, and he could probably be in line for a title shot. But I think he's going to need one more fight before, or two more fights before he actually gets to a title anyway, because... like I said, Tony Ferguson, the winner of Ferguson-Pettis, could get the next title shot. So Kevin Lee would be waiting a little longer. John Doe says, but should fight Justin G. Yeah, I like the Justin Gaethje fight. He's still ranked number 7. I like that fight. But yeah, Bruce Buffer said Nate Diaz should stop complaining and be bowing down to Dana White. You know, TMZ caught his ass, asked him what he thinks about Nate Diaz, you know, walking off and stuff at the press conference and possibly not fighting or whatever. And this is what Bruce Buffer had to say. He said, Nate, I heard you made $7 million more in your last fight. I don't want to hear you complaining about being underpromoted by the UFC. You should be thanking the UFC and bowing to Dana White every time you see him. Endeavor CEOs Ari Emanuel and Patrick Whitesell as well, the new owners. He's saying Nate Diaz should be bowing to the UFC. You got $7 million or more gross before taxes, maybe much more, which I love knowing you have. You know, he's like, I love knowing that you're making good money, but I don't want to hear any more complaints. You know, and honestly, I kind of agree with what Bruce Buffer had to say there. I don't agree with, like, saying, like, bow down if you're taking it literal. Like, it's fucking, you know, Nate Diaz is never going to bow down. That's just not who Nate Diaz is. Thug life till the motherfucking day he dies. You know, Nick Diaz, they don't bow down. It's not happening. He'd rather fucking Stockton slap you and you be mad at him than ever bow down. And just the word bow down is the wrong words to use for Nate Diaz. But at the same time, I did kind of get what Bruce Buffer was saying, because I was thinking, like, what? Like, dog, you do have, you know, you did make a lot of money on top of that, and you already signed up to fight Poirier. Like, who gives a fuck if they announce McGregor versus Khabib? Really, if you're about to get paid to fight Poirier, you're returning, you're ready to fight. If you're ready to fight, don't let something that they did to piss you off stop the fight. Like, wouldn't it be crazy if we actually lost the fight because he was like, no, fucking, they're under promoting shit. Like, I don't even want to fight no more. They're under promoting shit. It's like, what are we talking about here? So I get what Bruce Buffer had to say. Like, you know, like, when you're talking about under promoting, you're one of the biggest stars in the business as well. Now, unless you're speaking out for all the other fighters, like, no, man, like Tyron Woodley and everybody, Dana White be coming out here and bashing Ngannou and Woodley. Like, if you're saying something like that, like, they need to start over promoting all the fighters instead of under promoting all the fighters. But if you're just speaking for yourself, like, they need to stop under promoting and doing some over promoting. I kind of don't really want to hear that either from Nate Diaz right now. You know, it is what it is. I'm cool with Nate Diaz making his money. He's got the weed thing going, probably getting paid for appearances. Like Al Iaquinta, he probably doesn't need to fight. But he's a fighter, so after 2 years, he's ready to fight. So I wouldn't want to see that get caught up because he felt like he was being under-promoted for a second. So I hear what Bruce Buffer had to say, but like I said, I think saying bow down is just where he fucked up. He said, I think we all want to see it, but I don't think we can make... Oh, he's talking about Khabib versus Diaz 3. Or he's talking about McGregor versus Diaz 3. But he said he doesn't think past fights. We got to see what happens between McGregor and Khabib first. That's a big fight. I don't think in front of my guns. I'm thinking behind my guns. We'll see what happens, and then the marketing brains behind the UFC will put together the best thing for the fans. So, Bruce Buffer got caught up by TMZ, and of course Nate Diaz got word of what he had to say because, like I said, Bruce Buffer fucked up with his choice of words by saying bow down, telling Nate Diaz to bow down. You can imagine that might not go over too well. Nate Diaz says, Bruce Buffer, what the fuck? Get off the UFC's nuts. You're bound. Wait, let me do my Nate Diaz voice. Bruce Buffer, what the fuck? Get off the UFC's nuts. You're bowing down right now, motherfucker. Telling me to bow down? Fuck that. You keep bowing down, motherfucker. I bow down to no one, and no one ever. For all the money in the world, motherfucker. Thug life. Alright, not the best Nate Diaz impersonation, but you get the point, man. He didn't like that bow down. I don't bow down to nobody for all the money in the world. And I seen another segment, I don't remember where it was, TMZ, I don't know where it was. Somebody was talking about this like, yo, for Conor McGregor money, I think a lot of us would be willing to fucking, yo, what, $7 million you said? I just got to bow once, or do I got to bow twice? Do my knees got to touch the ground? Do I got to kiss your shoes? You said $7 million, right? Can I just kiss the right one? That one looks cleaner. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are going to take that check. But Bruce Buffer didn't mean any disrespect. He was just saying, as someone that made a lot of money, I don't really want you to be complaining. But he got wind of Nate Diaz's response and said, with all respect, Nate, that's not what I meant by saying the word bow. I meant it as a sign of respect, as in greeting someone, not a sign of submission, as I'd never expected that for anyone. And so, you know, back down a little bit. Honestly, whenever you listen to what Bruce Buffer had to say, it did kind of sound like he was talking about, like, bow down. Like, you should be bowing down. But he meant, like, bow, you know, just like the half bow, just like greeting someone like, what's up, Dana? You know what I'm saying? Either way, I didn't expect to see fucking Nate Diaz versus Bruce Buffer when I woke up this morning, but it happened. It fucking happened. So, yeah, well, that'll be interesting in Nate Diaz's next fight. He might have to fucking, I don't want to see this, but, you know, what if he just fucking mad dogs or mean mugs fucking Bruce Buffer a little bit? I mean, we saw the video of him stalking slapping Dana. Now he might say, you know what, if you motherfuckers want me to fight Dustin Poirier, motherfucker, you gotta let me stalk to slap fucking Bruce Buffer on camera, motherfucker. You know, what if he wants one of those now in his best suit? Just, the fuck, bow down? I'm just saying. Bada Jr. says, Diaz Rose also giving their scrap pack a bad rep for all their crying and twittering. Bada Jr. says, John Doe wanted to see Khabib Holloway so bad. Yo, that's a great fight, Khabib versus Holloway. But it looks like Holloway is going to actually be rescheduled. That's a great transition, actually, to face Bryan Ortega in the works for UFC 231. I believe that's going to be in Toronto, Canada. I mean, that would have been a great spot for GSP to return to, a great main event. There was talks of maybe GSP Anderson Silva, GSP versus the winner of McGregor and Khabib. Now, I don't think that would happen in Canada, but who knows? If GSP was going to return, it'd be great to see him headline the Toronto card. And it's still not official if Ortega versus Holloway would even be the headliner, but that is a big fight, and it could potentially be the headliner for UFC 231. Either way, it is a title fight that is in the works, and Bryan Ortega did confirm this. He didn't confirm it was official. He said nothing's official, but yeah, it's true. We got the call. They offered us the fight. I said yes. I'm not sure exactly where. I think they're pushing for Toronto. I'm sure Max received the same call. I haven't heard anything from his side yet, but it looks like it's going to happen. So Max Holloway's not going to turn down the fight, and he's clearly medically cleared if the UFC's offering him a fight. I don't think if he wasn't medically cleared, especially with his health situation, how it was unclear. And that's what's crazy, because we still don't actually know what it was. We still don't know. It came and went. Could have been a fucking bug, you know, in the air, or it's just something he drank, something he ate for the day. Who knows? We never really figured it out, but everything's back to normal. They've put him through all the extensive tests. Max Holloway has denied that it was a concussion. He's denied that it was the weight cut. So no one has a fucking idea what happened with Max Holloway, but he's cleared to fight, it seems, and now it's looking like he might be fighting Bryan Ortega upcoming in November at UFC 231. So that's in the works. We'll keep our eye on that, and I'll let you know when it's official, of course. Emir Shaheen says, Maribek Tyson versus Gregor Gillespie, who would win? Don't fucking do that to me, dude. Are you the one that asked me that in the fucking in the 7,000 subscriber Q&A? That is such a hard call. That is such a hard call, man. You're trying to fucking rack my brain. We got a show to do. I want to ask that to you guys in the chat, because you guys answer that. That's the fucking trivia of the day. Who would win, Maribek Tyson or Gregor Gillespie? That is a fucking matchup for you to figure out. Woo! Woo! That's a tough matchup, but yeah. So, also, here's one of the things to talk about. Like I said, all of these aren't in order. That's probably... I usually talk about all the UFC stuff first, so let's get the UFC stuff. We got Robert Whittaker, Paige Vanzant news, Daniel Cormier news, Tyron Woodley. All right, we got some stuff to talk about here. We're going to talk about all of this before we get into Kayla Harrison versus Cyborg, Thompson and Paige Vanzant, Kevin Lee's reaction to Gaethje versus Vick. We'll actually move that up sooner. We'll just cover that now. Tony Ferguson, bada boom, bada bing. All right, and James Vick. All right, so yeah, we just covered Nate Diaz versus Bruce Buffer, but real quick before we move all the way off the topic of UFC Lincoln, James Vick has broken his silence since getting knocked out by who he crowned Homer Simpson, Justin Gaethje. This is what he had to say. Oh, is this after the fight? I don't think so. But either way, it might be. It might be after the fight. You know what I'm saying? Taking a pic with Justin Gaethje, shared this on Instagram and said, Worst night of my life last night. Thank you, Justin Gaethje, for the opportunity. Though confident in myself, I did always respect you. I said what I said to get and promote the fight. You're a class act, and I do appreciate your kind words last night. I have no excuses. I was in shape, healthy, and confident. I blew it. For all those that believed in me and support me, I am truly sorry. I will go back and keep training and loving this life of being a fighter and a martial artist. This is the fight. This is the life I chose, and I guess this comes with the territory. Thanks to all my friends, families, and teammates for the support. Thank you, UFC, for the opportunity. Sounds like that's definitely humble pie. Even though he did let you know, yo, I respected him. It was just part of the show. This is what we got to do to sell fights. I mean, you guys enjoyed it, right? Yes, we did. But the last part of that really stood out to me because it sounds like something he could have learned from Justin Gaethje before this. He said, and you know, just specifically because he was what he was saying about Justin Gaethje. And even though it was just trash talk to sell the fight, he did believe what he said. He said, I'm not just trash talking, making shit up. I believe what I'm saying. Now, it was to help sell the fight. And I'm sure he still has respect for Justin Gaethje for the wars he had with who he had him with. But this is what he had to say. This is the life I chose, and I guess this comes with the territory. Who the fuck has been telling us that now forever? Justin Gaethje for his last 3 fights. We're all like, yo, Justin Gaethje, does he need to change his fighting style? Is he gonna? How's he long is he gonna last? And he's been like, this is the life I chose. And motherfucking, this is what comes with the territory. I'm here to entertain. Are you not entertained? This is the, you know what I'm saying? So then maybe that's a little bit of the humble pie, but it is what it is. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I ain't mad at James Vick for the trash talk because it was very entertaining, and he got what came to him. You win some, you lose some, you live to fight another day. So it was a fucking great fight. Yeah, you're Irish, right? Don't blame you, says John Doe. Gillespie says Max Weiss. We got Cam Murphy says Gregor. John Doe says Maribek. Pinhead says Tysonov. Ain't that a fucking hard call? That's 2-2 right now. You're biased, Cam, says John Doe. Gregor Gillespie's not Irish, I don't think. Just because his name's Gregor. He might be actually Gillespie. He might actually have some Irish heritage. But I don't think he's actually from Ireland. But either way, yeah, maybe a little bit biased there. But that's, Muhammad Ahmed says Maribek Tysonov. 3-2 for Maribek. Isn't that a tough-ass call, you guys? What a fucking matchup. Maribek Tysonov versus Gregor Gillespie. That's a fucking matchup, dog. But hashtag are you not entertained? Says that weird guy. That's what I'm saying. Let's fucking go. But yeah, also in reaction to the UFC Lincoln knockout, Kevin Lee had an interesting reaction. I told you what it was, but here it is. It's the motherfucking money sign. Money, 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 money at Justin Gaethje. Money, 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 money. So he's like, yo, we this is a fight. It's gonna sell. You're the motherfucking highlight. I'm the Motown phenom. You just bounced back. You got your motherfucking mojo back. We're top contenders. Let's get it. In the wise words of Lil Pump. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it looks like Kevin Lee is saying. I'm sure that's a bigger fight than Ali Quinta at this point for Kevin Lee. Yes, Ali Quinta did get the title shot. It's a rematch you would love to get, but you can't really put your eggs in the Ali Quinta basket. Might agree to fight, might get pissed off next week and say, you know what, fuck that fight. I'm going to go sell 2 houses. Fuck all of you guys. Fuck you, my opponent, and fuck you guys for even trying to get me to sign that deal. I want more money. I thought about it. I want more. Yeah, fuck yeah. You know, Ali Quinta, you can't really put your eggs in that basket. I fucking love Ali Quinta, man. It's funny. But yeah, Justin Gaethje versus Kevin Lee, I am in there like swimmer. I would love to watch that fight. John Doe says, no lie, he's from New York or around there, but I believe his background is Irish. Yeah, he's definitely got an Irish name, but for sure, yeah, he's a New York native. Or is it Boston? I'm pretty sure it's New York, for sure. But yeah, so there's Motown Phenom's response to the fight. Tony Ferguson recently scheduled to face UFC 229 at UFC. Recently scheduled to face Anthony Pettis at UFC 229. A little bit of a history here. He said he's wanted to fight Anthony Pettis since the UFC 181 incident. This is what he had to say on Instagram. Technical fall. Your team tried to dog my squad in the stands at UFC 181, and my coach at the time told me, don't worry about him. You can't big league a big leaguer. I told you I'd see you soon, kid. Now you're going to have to answer to me toe-to-toe, Vato. I'll accept the public apology before the fight if you want to squash it and fight like gentlemen. Either way, I'm bringing the pain. So I'll see you soon, hombre. Shh, be a good, pretty boy. Tienes suerte. Nice UFC 229. Shout out to the good coaches and trainers out there making a difference. Happy training. Yo, motherfucking El Kukui is back. El Kukui's back. I can't fucking wait. I hope he's fucking healthy. I hope his leg is good. Snap down city. Snap motherfucking jitsu. He's back. Fuck what you time, Matt. Yes, I was disappointed when the fight was canceled, but I'm the blame. I'm the one to blame. I started the fucking April Fool's joke. It came to fruition. That was my fault. My bad, El Kukui. But he's fucking back. Let's go. Kukui versus Showtime. I am fucking so ready for UFC 229, dog. Given Surname says Costa versus Joel makes no sense to me. Too soon for the eraser. That's what I'm saying. And now, the fight, Yoel's injured. I don't really like the fight either. If Yoel's trying to get back to a title shot, that doesn't make his case really. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you beat the eraser. Is he unranked? He might be ranked 10, and then you get a title shot. He was talking about moving up in weight. Not the best matchup. Like, the only way that fight is really good is if Paulo Costa wins, as far as it'll be a new challenger. But it doesn't do much for Yoel Romero. But he's injured right now, but he said he'll fight him after that. But it's like now Paulo Costa's going to sit out and wait on Yoel Romero. So that's unfortunate, but it would be a great matchup. You know what I'm saying? Hide your wives, hide your side chicks. Yoza L says, that fool is a wannabe Mexican, bruh. I don't give a fuck if he's a wannabe Mexican, nigga. I got a cousin that's half white, half Mexican. He can't speak the language. He's got a Mexican dad. His Mexican family he's still cool with, and he roots for the Mexican fighters. He loves, you know what I'm saying? Just because he's not a full Mexican, pure-blooded Mexican, don't mean he ain't down with the motherfucking Team Mexico. If it came down to motherfucking prison, what side do you think he'd be on? Or, I don't like using that example, but if it came down to it, when he's watching fights, you think he's rooting for the fucking white guy, the black guy, or the Mexican guy? El Kukui is rooting for the Mexican. He wasn't born in motherfucking Guadalajara. That ain't his motherfucking fault. Fuck you talking about. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Infamous says Pettis will have his moments in Tony's fight, but Tony will break him eventually. Pettis can't deal with the pace. Yo, I can't fucking wait for this fight. Anthony Pettis just looked great, man. He looked great. His jiu-jitsu, he can submit a black belt. We know that. We know that. His jiu-jitsu triangle armbar over Michael Chiesa, super impressive. Of course, he's got some solid striking. And really, the only guys he lost to Poirier and Max Holloway, but Pettis' worst matchups seem to be, I was going to say, like, a wrestling matchup, but he's got great jiu-jitsu, and honestly, he lost to Holloway and Poirier, and they're not really known for wrestlers, but Pettis, he's still a good fighter, man. He's still a challenge. Like I said, I'm picking Ferguson to win as well, but I think it's still a good fight. John Doe says, kicking still and shit. What the fuck? He's tough as hell, though. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. He ain't fucking around. Can't wait for that fight. Tony won tough at welterweight, but been fighting at lightweight Ferguson. Giving shit, he says, yeah, those middle names are so funny to me. I just hope Tony shows us that ankle pick he's been working on. Yo, that ankle pick story, he actually told the story of that ankle pick before his fight with Khabib that he fell out of. Actually, a good story behind it. When he first started training and shit, like, it was a cool-ass ankle pick story. El Kukui's going to pick apart Anthony Pettis like the way he did with RDA in Mexico City. He could very well go like that. This could be a bad beatdown for Anthony Pettis if Tony Ferguson's at 100%. But I'm just saying, Tony Ferguson or Pettis could also land some crazy shit. Not only could he hold his own striking, but he could get a submission like that triangle armbar he put off against Michael Chiesa if the fight goes to the mat. John Doe said, I think T. Ferg has the best jiu-jitsu at lightweight. Definitely up there. I can't think of anybody that's really known for the jiu-jitsu at lightweight aside from Tony Ferguson, like in the top 10 off the top of my head. So yeah, you might be right. Bada Bing Jr. says, wouldn't be surprised if he gets ankle picked by another cable. All right, man, let's continue. Tony Ferguson, like he said, there's a little bit of a history here. Looks like their fucking team tried to dog his squad in the stands at UFC 181. Now he's getting that revenge. Now it's the one-on-one. We had the motherfucking crew. You had your crew. Y'all outnumbered us. You were the champion back then. I was unknown. I had to fucking chill because you were the big timer, big leaguer, talking that shit. Now it's motherfucking El Kukui risen. I'm back, and motherfucking you're going to have to handle that shit one-on-one. Your squad's not there. Your status isn't there. It's one-on-motherfucking-one Pettis versus Kukui. Do you hear me? Are you fucking ready? I am. UFC 229 is going to be crazy. We talked about Ortega versus Holloway a little bit ago. So we will continue to Robert Whittaker saying the UFC giving title shots to fighters who miss weight is not fair. I agree, but he said that he said this is funny how he's putting it. I don't know about this. This is maybe a little bit of an overstatement, but this is what the current UFC middleweight champion had to say. It's like me going down to bantamweight, not making weight and winning because I'm much bigger, and then getting the title shot. Now, I completely disagree with that because he's a 185-pound champion. Going down to bantamweight, that's fucking 5 weight classes lower. That's a 50-pound gap. When Yoel Romero or Darren Till or any Mackenzie Dern even, when they've missed weight, it's been by 3, 4, and at the highest 7 pounds. We ain't talking about no motherfucking 5 weight classes. We ain't talking about 50 pounds over. Now, yeah, Yoel even in the most recent fight was 0.4. You know what I'm saying? So, but in the Rockhold fight, that was a different story. So, I don't agree with the bantamweight example, but I do think it's not necessarily fair. I mean, people already think even if you make weight, extreme weight cutting is cheating. So imagine if you're trying to cut all this fucking weight and you get to the point to where you can't even cut the weight. So you just miss weight by hella pounds. You're just completely bigger. I do think that is not fair, but I don't think it's the same thing as Robert Whittaker fighting at bantamweight. He said it's not fair. It's not fair because the flip side, the guys that are making weight don't make it easy. It wasn't easy to cut weight and make weight and do the job. We still had to struggle. We still had to diet weeks out. We're just more professional at it. We just did it right. The people who do make weight are also in a hard position because they're in a position where they still need to make money to pay the bills, to earn a wage, and to do their job, but they also have to support hundreds of thousands of people who have come to see them fight or are watching them on TV fight, the fans. That's kind of why you fight. They drive the sport. So when you ask a guy, are you gonna take a fight if your opponent doesn't make weight? Is it really asking? Does he really have a choice? When you back them into a corner like that, is there really a choice to be made? You have to look at the whole process behind it. So, I mean, Robert Whittaker, I mean, there's a lot of people that have actually been speaking out against the people who have been extreme weight cutting, but Robert Whittaker recently fought a title fight where his opponent missed weight. And to get the title fight, he missed weight. You remember in the interim title fight, Yoel Romero fought Luke Rockhold, missed weight, but still knocked out Luke Rockhold. So he didn't get that interim title, but he still got a title shot. And we have seen in the past the UFC be like, sorry, you missed weight. You're not getting this shot. But like we said, it's a new day and age. There's new owners. So it is what it is. Sometimes you can miss weight and still get opportunities. We see that now with Darren Till. We see that now with Mackenzie Dern. We see that with Yoel Romero. So it's like fighters who are missing weight are actually getting rewarded for it, and that's usually never a recipe for success. If you want somebody to stop doing something, you either have to punish them for it or fucking you have to punish them for it. But I was going to say, or you can increase the punishment. If the punishment you have now is not working, you might have to increase the punishment. But what you can't do, the one thing that you can't do is reward them for it. You can't say, oh, you missed weight by 4 pounds, here's a title shot. Like, okay, well then fuck it. That's going to make people not try to, if they're dying already on their weight cut, they might just say, fuck it, I'll just miss weight by 2 pounds and win the fight. You know, so yeah, it is what it is. Botter Jr. says 20-30% of your purse is too light of a penalty. Make it 50% of your whole contract. Exactly, 50%. But then what if the fighter that missed weight is like, well, then I'm not fighting. Well, then you fuck around and should get cut for that. If you're like, oh, I missed weight, I don't want to pay 50% of my purse, so I just won't fight. My bad, I shouldn't have missed weight. So, I mean, it's a weird situation, but I do agree with you about it, Junior, that 20-30% doesn't seem to be enough because it's not deterring the fighters. Or make them fight at their natural weight class. That's a push that it seems like we've been going toward. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Extreme weight cutting, guys cutting 40 pounds. Honestly, when I think of people who are extreme weight cutting, one of the people that comes to mind now is James Vick. I could for sure see him cutting 155, kind of being like, all right, you're a big dude. But if he makes the weight, it is what it is. It can either affect your performance, like, who knows? Do you think a heavy weight cut, he didn't make any excuses, but do you think his weight cut could have played into the reason he got knocked out so early? Who knows? It's a question to be had. But yeah, man, that we'll see where that goes, where the sport is at, where the sport's going to go with the weight cutting. Are people going to fight closer to their natural weight class? Or is there going to be, what's going to happen? It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, UFC champion Robert Whittaker said giving title shots to fighters who miss weight is not fair. We got 28 people watching, 19 thumbs up. If you're finished biting your bagels, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Paige Vanzant versus Rachel Ostevich in the works for UFC's ESPN debut. Or are they? This news looks like it got out of the bag a little too early. I do think this fight likely happens at UFC's ESPN debut because it makes a lot of sense. Two of the more supermodel-ish fighters, Paige Vanzant, Dancing with the Stars. Of course, she's a fighter as well, and she's tough. She fought with a broken arm, but is she championship caliber? Probably not. Is she one of the best fighters in the world? I mean, she's in the UFC, but not as far as she's not going to challenge Valentina Shevchenko for the title, you know, or anything like that. And so with that being said, she's really more of a great promotional tool for the UFC because she looks great. She can go on shows like Dancing with the Stars. Now she's actually got a boob job, which, I mean, it is what it is. Just can't beat around the bush. That helps with marketing as well, especially in a sport dominated by male viewership where 90% or more of the fans tend to be males a lot of the time. So that, and she's been promoting the hell out of it on social media if you follow her. So it's like, it is what it is. So with that being said, that in my mind, just talking about it, I don't really think a boob job can help your fight performance. You know what I'm saying? Because and it is what it is. That's why I don't think Paige Vanzant's really trying to be a champion, or I don't think that's her path. She might go on Dancing with the Stars season 3, but I say that because Paige Vanzant's a girl that had a hard time making 115 pounds. There was talks about how she passed out, I believe, at one time during her weight cuts. And so the move to flyweight was urgent. And she already looked like a small 125-pounder. So, but if she was already had to move to flyweight because of bad weight cuts, now you're adding on a little more weight that you would have to cut. So the move back to strawweight is done. I don't see her ever going back to 115. And now she's stuck at 125 with the much bigger girls. You got Valentina up there. I mean, there's just so many starting to be killers that are going to take over the top 5 of that division. But, of course, watching Paige Vanzant fights is always going to be a popular fight because she's one of the more popular WMMA stars. And now Rachel Ostevich, on the other hand, might not know her definitely for her fighting skills, but she's definitely one of the more provocative as far as promotional goes. You know, she definitely looks great. And so this is going to be a fight that could be on a poster. The poster would look amazing. If you're watching for technical fighting skills, who's going to be the next champion, that's not what you're looking at this for. But this is a great fight to put on a poster is what I'll say. And it's going to be a good matchup because neither one of these girls, it's not like neither one of them are going to steamroll the other one. So it's a good matchmaking. But like I said, as far as Paige Vanzant's future, I don't know about her necessarily fighting for a title because I think now she's forced to stay at 125 and Valentina's there. So, but Paige Vanzant versus Rachel Ostevich is in the works for UFC's ESPN debut. That's going to be a big card. You know, there's going to be a lot of eyes on that card. You might want some eye candy for all of those eyes, because it's the debut for ESPN. They're going to be in a lot of new homes. A lot of people watching the UFC's debut on ESPN. This has been Dana White and the UFC, they probably thought this was never going to be possible. The way that the sport used to be looked at, ESPN is fucking Disney. The UFC fucking is there. So their debut put Paige Vanzant on there. A lot of people might be familiar with her from Dancing with the Stars. A lot of the casual fans know about Paige Vanzant. And so, yeah, I could for sure. That's why I think this fight could very well happen on this card. It makes a lot of sense, but maybe you just got announced a little prematurely. But Paige Vanzant did say this recently, just said yes to a fight date. PVZ is returning. Now, news broke that a bout between Paige Vanzant and Rachel Ostevich is in the works for the UFC's debut show on ESPN. Sources told MMA Fighting on Sunday the event will take place January 18th on Big ESPN. Through the location, or though the location has yet to be determined. So we don't know where, we don't know the exact date, but it does look like it'll be Paige Vanzant versus Rachel Ostevich on the card, PVZ on ESPN. Now, a little bit later, Paige Vanzant's coming out and refuting this, but like I said, I think that's just because the cat got let out of the bag too early, because she herself, a few days ago, she didn't say who, she didn't say Rachel Ostevich or anything like that, but she herself said yes to a fight date. PVZ is returning. So it would make sense if she returned January or early 2019. Now, she's coming off of that arm injury. She had her shit broken in her fight with Jessica Rose Clark, and that's healing up. She had to get surgery on it, I believe, maybe twice. And so we'll see how she looks when she comes back, but it's going to be a good-looking fight for all the simps out there. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, who knows? And the fight might not happen. She's refuting it, but we'll see. Daniel Cormier gets honest about dropping back down to defend his belt. He says, for me to go back down is going to be difficult to defend the belt, but I plan on doing it. Honestly, I'm a heavyweight. I weigh 245 pounds normally, but then I cut down to 205 whenever I fight at 205. I lose 40 pounds to fight in that weight class. So he's saying he is going to go back down, which means DC is holding on to the belt. He's pulling the McGregor. He's pulling the weight until, you know, he's holding on to the belt until his next fight, it seems like. He's not doing the GSP. Nah, I'm good. I'm not going to defend it again. He's holding on. So we'll see what happens, but if he is going to go down and defend it, I wouldn't be surprised if he does that sooner rather than later, because Brock can't come back till January, and we got some light heavyweights that are waiting on a title shot. Speaking of which, we actually have two of the top guys in line for a title shot, not named Alexander Gustafsson, that recently got announced for a fight. Corey Anderson and Ilir Latifi at UFC 232. That's at the end of the year. So if that's the case, they're not going to be fighting DC for the title before the end of the year. But he has said yes to a few people. Actually, one of them was Corey Anderson. Remember, after he said he's not fighting Gustafsson, you had a bunch of other light heavyweights like, hey, I'll fight you. And he was like, all right, set it up with the UFC. So the UFC instead matched these guys up together. And now, who is DC going to defend his light heavyweight belt against? He said he's not fighting Gustafsson. These guys are booked, so I really don't know who it would be aside from Gustafsson. But either way, he's holding on to the belt. And I've listened to a few industry insiders like Papa Chael, and one of his, that's so weird calling him that, but it's such a funny name. But Chael Sonnen, he talked about how DC, it doesn't make any sense for him to defend his belt at light heavyweight. He says it like devalues the Brock Lesnar fight. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but he just said DC should not fight at light heavyweight again, and he should vacate the strap. But you got DC saying that he's actually wanting to defend the title. So we'll see if he does, who it'll be against. But Tyron Woodley also recently came out ahead of his fight with Darren Till this weekend, and he said it's Till or no one. He won't fight KAMARU Usman, who the UFC has in his replacement. Now, this is interesting. Interesting. What the fuck is KAMARU Usman here for? Because if Tyron Woodley gets injured, it's just Till versus Usman for nothing. And now, if Till gets injured or misses weight, Woodley's like, nah, dog. He said, me and Usman will fight at some point in time, and I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with fighting him. I'm with fighting Mike Perry, all these dudes I respect. I like a person who brings true skill sets to the table and is a true fighter. I'm with it all day. But I'm not going to fight Usman on no 24 hours notice. I've been training for a 6'3" striker southpaw, not a 5'10", poor stand-up, negative. I don't do what I do best because I wing shit. I train. I prepare. I'm strategic. I break my opponent down to a molecule and I drown them. I leave them empty. I take away all their best gifts and I snipe them. I'm not going to switch it up in 5 minutes. It's a good point. I mean, in this whole replacement idea, I was kind of starting to think, and Chael Sonnen pointed this out as well, I don't know much about it. I don't know if I like it because, yeah, it might work for this fight because it's not a mega fight, but really it's only a good idea if they get injured. Do we really want to lose the entire fight we've been waiting on? If Darren Till misses weight by 0.2 pounds, would you rather see Usman versus Woodley? Or, even if you say yes to that, I bet you won't to this. Let's say Khabib misses weight by 0.5 pounds. Would you want to see McGregor versus Khabib canceled just because Khabib missed weight by 0.5 pounds? Or would you still want to see the fight we've all been waiting for? So, I don't know about this stand-in replacement opponent type deal. And now, one thing, the champion has to agree with it. Like, what? I've been training for the 6'3" fucking striker, preparing for him, a training camp preparing for him, and now we're going to switch it up? That's like fucking, that's just not realistic if you actually prepare for your fight. So, and Tyron Woodley is a very smart fighter that game plans for his opponents. So that would not be a great idea for Woodley because Usman does provide somewhat of a bad matchup for Woodley, honestly. In my mind, I think the worst matchups for Woodley would be these guys that can sort of replicate Rory McDonald better than just a striker. You know, you're going to have some sort of way to wear Tyron Woodley out, and it's probably going to take some sort of wrestling against the fence in the clinch somewhere where he's not going to be able to beat you and you can wear him out. But I don't know who's going to have the ability to do that, but I think a Colby Covington or a KAMARU Usman, they've got a better shot than even a Darren Till right now. Darren Till's a beast, but as of today, I don't know. I don't know yet. And so Tyron Woodley looks like he's and people might not like this because, of course, you know, a fighter, anyone, anywhere, any place, You point out people didn't like whenever Ortega didn't take the fight with Jeremy Stevens on short notice. And he even pointed out, yo, whenever fucking he gave me that opportunity was 3 weeks. They wanted me to fight him on like 2 days notice. And this would be even less if Darren Till missed weight. You know, he'd have to fight Usman on 24 hours notice. And completely different style of opponent. And you could imagine Usman's been training for Woodley for a while now, just coming for that belt. So interesting here, but it's a bad, I don't know how this is going to play out. It could potentially be a shit show with Tyron Woodley not agreeing to fight KAMARU Usman if that was necessary. It would be like, okay, well, we don't have a main event, Roger. So interesting. We'll see how that plays out, but Woodley did say he is not interested in the replacement opponent. John Doe says, I just want to see Cruz fight someone. Super Cash is where I get my main breakdowns. Yo, Super Cash. I want him on the show so bad just to have a fun conversation, dog. But he would never. I wouldn't even just shit on him like I did El Chapo. But yeah, we talked a little bit about Corey Anderson versus Latifi. This is likely a title eliminator. I mean, we've already got Gustafsson waiting for a title shot, so maybe the winner of this fight's Gustafsson, unless Latifi wins, because Latifi and Gustafsson are teammates, so they would never fight each other. So, well, I don't know what the fuck's going to go on at light heavyweight, but right now it seems a little logjam. DC's the champ. He said he'll defend. He's not vacating. He won't fight Gustafsson. These guys are booked. So, but, hey, we got some good light heavyweight fights coming up. Got some good prospects in the light heavyweight division coming up. So, we'll see what happens, but we don't know what's going on with the light heavyweight title picture right now. Now, here's a little bit about what I was saying earlier. Paige Vanzant refuting reports about her January fight. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, too. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was targeted to fight Wonderboy. Another report or rumor I heard, Wonderboy versus Lawler targeted for early 2019. Vanzant versus Ostevich targeted for early 2019, but both Vanzant and Wonderboy are refuting these claims. Paige Vanzant said, hashtag fake news. Sorry, everyone, I'm not even cleared yet. Hoping to get cleared this week to slowly start back to training. Off to Vegas Thursday to see my doctor. So, okay. What the fuck? Hold on. We got to go back because we do know that she posted this. I'll pull it up right here. Where's Paige Vanzant's Twitter? Right here? Right here? Right here? It's somewhere around here. Here it is. Here it is. She did say this. So what's up with this tweet? Just said yes to a fight date. PVZ is returning. So she said this August 17th that she said yes to a fight date. But now, to refute this, she is saying, I'm not even cleared yet. Hoping to get cleared this week and start slowly back training. So, did she say yes to a fight date or is it fake news? I don't know. That's weird. But, you know, they don't want these fights announced always. And honestly, the UFC might... I know some people are taking that fight announcement the wrong way, Paige Vanzant versus Rachel Ostevich, because they're calling it a beauty pageant. So maybe they want to roll that back. They don't want that criticism from some of the fans while we still got the rest of this year to go. We still got a lot of good fights coming up, a lot of shit to be excited for. So we don't want people getting fake outrage. Oh, Paige Vanzant's in a beauty pageant. You know, it is what it is. That's going to sell. We're trying to get more fans to the sport. So, yeah, there's some truth to it. It's definitely... and not a beauty pageant. Both of these girls can fight, but they're definitely two good-looking fighters. And on the debut at ESPN, that would make some sense. But Paige Vanzant's calling fake news, so until we get an official announcement, we will see what happens. But also, Chris Taylor said, I asked Wonderboy about potentially fighting Robbie Lawler in January on ESPN. His response, nothing is set at all. I would love that fight, but Robbie may not be ready at all, so it's like up in the air right now. There's no telling who I'll fight next, to be honest. I mean, Robbie could be healthy by then, but yeah, Wonderboy's just not, he's saying it's not set. So there had, maybe now maybe Wonderboy hasn't heard from Robbie Lawler's camp. We do know Wonderboy wants that fight, but maybe someone else got word from Robbie Lawler's camp or word from the UFC that Robbie Lawler has verbally agreed. And so with that verbal agreement from Robbie Lawler, it's safe to say the fight will happen because we know Wonderboy's down to fight Robbie Lawler. So that fight could still happen as well, but as far as Wonderboy is concerned, it's not set, but it could still be in the works even though it's not official. So yeah, maybe and that's another good fight for ESPN. You know what I'm saying? Wonderboy, Walt Disney, one of the, you know, kind of like a grown Sage Northcutt in a sense of very nice, fucking doesn't seem like he's got a, he seems very innocent, whatever. You get the fucking point when it comes to Wonder Boy and Sage, man. They're just good people. And so that they're good faces for like ESPN, Paige Vanzant as well. So that I wouldn't be surprised if they actually had fights early on the ESPN deal. They could be big for ESPN for sure. So Wonder Boy, Paige, they could likely be a part of that ESPN rollout. We shall see how it happens. Now we got Kayla Harrison guaranteeing a future fight with Chris Cyborg. A lot of people feel like she actually called Cyborg out. I didn't actually get that from the call out. She was just what's she's supposed to say? No, I don't even want to talk about Cyborg right now. She literally wants to be the best. She's just saying eventually I'm gonna fight her. Now, someone I respect a lot, especially with her WMMA acumen, is Coach. I heard him. He's calling for the fight now. He actually takes this as a legit call out whenever she welcomes Cyborg to the PFL. Well, I just don't feel like that's necessarily the case. She didn't say I want to fight Cyborg next. She didn't say I want to fight Cyborg this year. She just said by the end of the year I feel like I can be the best. I also know that Chris Cyborg's contract is coming up, so if she wants to come to the PFL, maybe we can meet over here. She's not saying come to the PFL so I can whoop your ass. I'm ready. Nothing like that. She's just saying I do know Cyborg's contract is coming up. And I'm with the PFL right now. So we can't fight right now because I'm with the PFL. She's with the UFC. But if she does come to the PFL, we would welcome her over here. And that could be where we fight. So we'll see what happens. I personally don't want to see the fight this soon. I don't want to see Cyborg versus Harrison next. I don't even think that would be fucking smart. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a bad idea. You want to see Cyborg fight a girl that's like fucking 2-0, 3-0? The fuck? Like that just seems rushed. Like that's not a good idea at all. So I want to see Harrison fight out 2019. She might fight 4 times next year. She might fight one more time at the end of this year. Kayla Harrison can get her 3rd fight at the end of this year. If she can pick up 4 fights in 2019, then she will be 7-0 heading into 2020. And 1 or 2 fights into 2020, Cyborg versus Harrison could be a done data. That's when I want to see it. 2020, no ifs, ands, or buts. But, of course, Harrison is going to be asked about Cyborg. And this is the thing. Do got to be careful here with Harrison because a lot of girls do this. A lot of girls use Cyborg's name to build their name up. Oh, yeah, I'll fight Cyborg, I'll fight Cyborg, I'll fight Cyborg, and then they don't fight Cyborg. And then they just say, oh, personal issues or injury, or I'll fight Cyborg, I'll fight Cyborg. No, I won't. You know, a lot of them actually don't end up fighting Chris Cyborg that say that. And so you got to be a little skeptical when Kayla Harrison brings up Cyborg's name because it can come across as clout chasing. But at the same time, no one's going to stop asking her about it. People are asking her about it. And also her mindset getting into the sport, you have to take this into consideration, is that she wants to be the best. She's not coming to MMA because she wants to be a contender. She as a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, she's proven she can be the best. She showed that drive in order to become the best, and she did it twice. Do you think she wants to transition into mediocreness at MMA? I was the best in judo, best in the world. I seen Ronda Rousey become a champion who was a bronze medalist who I actually surpassed in judo. I seen her become a champion, but I want to go fight MMA just so I can be mediocre. No, she wants to be a fucking champion. She wants to be the best. So, yes, she is saying, I do eventually want to be the best. And I know in order to be the best, I have to beat the best. And she says the best is Chris Cyborg. So that's something that just has to happen. That's a path that's going to cross. When is it going to happen? Kayla Harrison's not calling for it tomorrow. She's not calling Cyborg out for next month, next week. She's just saying, I do want a piece of that before she retires. I'm not going to let her retire before I can beat her. Because if I don't beat Chris Cyborg, I can't be known as the best, and that is my mission. Her end game is to beat Cyborg and become the best of all time. Her end game. That's not what she's saying she's going to do tomorrow. That's not what she's saying she's going to do in 2019. But she does want to beat Chris Cyborg. She's open to it. She's not going to run from the fact that she eventually wants to beat Cyborg. That's one of her main goals. So, of course, Cyborg Nation isn't going to appreciate that, her openness to fight Cyborg, because you're used to Cyborg being the most feared woman on the planet, and so you don't really believe it when anyone says they actually want to fight Cyborg. But I believe Kayla Harrison. I think she's got the potential. She needs some more work. But like I said, before her last fight, they said, oh, she beat a fighter with an uneven record. She beat Brittany Okins, that was 3-1. She can't even strike. Bro, she gonna get in there with someone that knows how to move her head and get knocked out, y'all. I'm telling you, she gonna get knocked out. What'd she do? She came in there and fought a fighter with the record that was 8-1, showed her head movement, showed her body attacks, kicking legs, even threw a kick to the head before taking the fight down and controlling it. 3-round domination from Kayla Harrison. Not much to say after that, as far as you can't say the same things you were saying after her first fight. And so a lot of people are asleep on Kayla Harrison, but you expect that, especially from Cyborg Nation. But I'm just saying, 2020 Harrison's on the way. This is what she had to say recently. Initially, I was disappointed, but I got over it pretty quick. If I don't win in dominant fashion instantly, I'm not happy. But I talked to my coaches and my boyfriend, Tony Martin, and realized that I got a lot of good experience. In a way, Rousey was lucky her matches were so short because no one got to study her. The fact that she could always go straight for her opponent's head and get into the clinch, I feel like it didn't help her development being able to go 3 rounds. I won't ever say anything bad about Ronda, but every fighter has to adapt in MMA, constantly changing, gaining that experience, and that was really good for me. And now she continued to say, as far as her Cyborg comments, this is what she had to say. I would love it if Chris were to end her contract in the UFC in 2019, and maybe she'll want to come fight in the PFL. PFL takes good care of their fighters. They're into promoting their fighters, and I think she would be treated much differently here, and who's to say? Maybe we could meet in the finals of PFL's season format. You know, she didn't say, come to PFL so I can beat your ass, I'm ready to fight you. She said, come over here and maybe we can meet in the finals. I mean, she's just open to it. But one thing is for sure, we can't fight right now as long as you're in the UFC and I'm with PFL. UFC and PFL fighters can't fight. So, if people are asking us about the fight, if we're ever going to fight, we do know her contract coming up. And so, if she wants to come to the PFL, who knows? Maybe we can fight. But she did say this, and she pointed out, you know, maybe how Chris Cyborg isn't getting the proper promotion in the UFC. There's still no featherweight division, and that's part of the reason it seems like Cyborg's ready to end her contract, but her contract isn't up until 2019. But she said, one thing I wanted to point out, she said, I think she would be treated much differently here, and who's to say maybe we can meet in the final. She said, who's to say? She's not calling for it. She's not guaranteeing it. She's not saying maybe she can come over here and I can get that work. She's not saying maybe she can come over here and I can get my hands on her. She's saying, who's to say? Maybe we'll meet in the finals or some shit, a PFL tournament. And so, and like I said, I don't think she's ready right now. I think if, say, Harrison and Cyborg fought today, Cyborg could very well knock her out, for sure. But I don't want to see Cyborg fighting a fighter that's 3-0. So hopefully Harrison can get some good fights in 2019. Hopefully this fight doesn't get rushed. I don't want to see that. I want to see Harrison get a little more time. I'm not asking for 10 fights, but just let her get through 2019. Early 2020, mid 2020, I think Cyborg versus Harrison. I think Harrison's actually got a good chance. Cyborg's the greatest female fighter of all time, but Kayla Harrison does present a skill set that we haven't seen face Cyborg yet. Yes, she's fought some talented grapplers, but has she fought any as talented as the gold medal, 2-time judo gold medalist Kayla Harrison, who's also a natural fucking lightweight, possibly who's going to have to make the cut to featherweight? A lot of the girls Cyborg has fought in the past have been bantamweights. Kayla Harrison right now is a lightweight, so there's the size issue, there's the ground game. There's just so many different reasons that that's going to be a great fight if Kayla Harrison gets more time. But we got to get there. So I don't like seeing that fight rushed. Given Your Name says USADA lost their credibility with Brock Lesnar UFC 200 for me. Yeah, that was interesting. And then John Jones got popped, but Brock made it through until after the fight. It's like, God, both of them failed. We got to get one through, right? Botter Jr. says, he's responding to John Doe. Latifi better KO Anderson, says Weezen336. That's going to be a fucking good fight, man. He could get the KO. He submitted OSP, but Anderson's not a slouch. He's definitely got that wrestling to rely on, and he's been well-rounded out his game. Anderson, I know he's infamous for that DC line, but Anderson's no slouch. But that'll be a good fight. Infamous as Cyborg has been taken down when the wind blows her over. Let's go, Kayla Harrison. Cyborg trying to run to boxing. That's what I'm saying. We cannot retire. I don't want to see that. Cyborg, she can't retire before she faces Harrison. I'm sorry. You can go do a boxing fight, but we can't get no multi-fight contract going. Nothing like that. Please don't run from Kayla Harrison. You know what I'm saying? That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. Right now, Cyborg's got her. Cyborg's the GOAT. But there's always a new GOAT. There's always a new champion. Every king or queen falls eventually. Eventually. And Kayla Harrison could very well be that, I was going to say bitch, but she could be that person that dethrones her. Botter Jr. says, the Roy Jones fans, though, we'd be considered haters. Or to the Roy Jones fans, though, we'd be considered haters. Oh, he responded to John Doe. All right, but yeah, so that was my spiel on Harrison versus Cyborg. I think Harrison needs to get through 20. She fit one more fight this year. That'll be 3 pro fights. 4 fights in 2019. She'll have 7 pro fights. She'll have been well-rounded. That'll give her that much more time to train over at American Top Team, get that experience under her belt. And even at 7-0, it's going to be tough to fucking beat Cyborg. Even at 7-0, she might not be able to, man. It's going to be a fucking hard fight, but she does present a legit challenge. As far as if you look at anybody out in the world of MMA that you would pick that could possibly beat Cyborg, there's really not anybody out there. Kayla Harrison, future Kayla Harrison, I should say, future Kayla Harrison is that girl. Not only is she a lightweight coming down instead of a bantamweight coming up, but she's also more of a grappling specialist training with a great team. Cyborg's dominant, but we just don't see her grappling as much, so it's a fucking great matchup as well. But yeah, let's continue. I think we got 1 or 2 more topics. Caitlin Vieira injured. There's another topic. UFC seeking a replacement for Tanya Evinger in Brazil. Caitlin Vieira, top contender, injured. She was going to be fighting Tanya Evinger. That was a fight I was looking forward to. Caitlin Vieira was a girl that was already looked at as the top contender, and people felt like she was kind of getting did wrong for having to take this fight anyway. They said she was going to be next for Nunes, then Holly Holmes, Cyborg. All these people were like, oh, no, never mind, Vieira. Maybe after a couple more fights. And so now she happens to be injured in her fight with Tanya Evinger. Looking for a replacement, but here's the card so far. Jimmy Manuwa versus Thiago Santos. Tanya Evinger versus to be announced. Sam Alvey versus Antonio Rogério Nogueira. Neil Magny versus Alex Oliveira. Cowboy Oliveira. Antonio Shoeface Carlos Jr. versus Elias Theodoro. Pretty good card, man. Francisco Trinaldo, Evan Dunham. Luis Enrique, Ryan Spann, Henan Barao, and Andre Ewell. Sergio Moraes, Ben Saunders. Talis Latus, Hector Lombard, Bilal Muhammad, Elizia Zaleski dos Santos, Alex Chambers, and Livia Renata Souza. So, still going to be a pretty stacked card as far as free TV. Over in Brazil, they usually stack those cards. So, that one's pretty nice. But it looks like we lost top contender Caitlin Vieira. But we'll see who Tanya Evinger, if she stays on the card. That weird guy says, man, even his team said pissed under the cage. I know a lot of his teammates be coming out, right, and talking about those rumors and stories that you hear about. But people are still going to, you know what I'm saying, hashtag free John Jones to the death. You know how that goes. Loyalty. Ever loves drugs says, lol, damn, I forgot DC with the towel. John Doe said, Towelgate, eye post. We've been live for about an hour 45 minutes. Yeah, I think that's all we got to talk about. Is there anything else? I mean, I was going to do a panel at the end of this show, but god damn, am I thirsty. I need to go somewhere and get something to drink. My girl just got home. I didn't think she was going to be home this early, but Infamous is in the building. Is Forward still in the building? Y'all want to do a panel? Y'all got anything y'all want to talk about before we get out of here? We can do a panel for like 30, 45-ish minutes if you guys are down. If anybody wants to hop on the panel, let me know. And if not, man, that's really all we got for the show. Had some news over the weekend. UFC Vick versus Gaethje recap. Crazy fucking fight night that was. UFC 228, of course, coming up. I just did my predictions on that. John Doe said I watched that live and was like, what the fuck? You talking about the towel? Yeah, that towel thing, crazy. But that's one of those situations, like, if he missed weight, what happens? Does he get stripped? Do you give the fucking title to Rumble? Does Rumble become the champion if he misses weight? Like, do they fight for not the title? Like, what happens? He missed weight by, do you not want to see the fight because he missed weight by 1 pound? Really weird situation. I can't, or I would hop in there, man. But that's all good. We can do it another day. I mean, it's fucking hot as hell up here. It's humid, it rained, and then it got hella hot, so it's hot as fuck up here anyway. So I'll probably cut off the camera and get naked. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking around. I know it's a sausage fest. Don't listen to me, full-time family. But 24 people watching, man, 21 thumbs up. That's pretty good. But if you're listening on the replay or right now, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up. And if you're finished biting your bagels, don't be a baby back bagel biting bitch boy. Infamous says, if DC's tailgate was the worst thing he's done, I can live with that. Yeah, I'd rather somebody press on the towel so they can actually fight instead of pull out of a fight or fucking, you know, do steroids or something like that. I would a lot rather you just make it to the fight. At least he was willing to fight. It's not like he was trying to make an excuse to get out of a fight and fake an injury, nothing like that. He was actually showed up to fight, got the job done. So it is what it is. And it's not like he missed weight by fucking 10 pounds, but it is still technically cheating. But yeah, if it's the worst thing, I think we can live with that. All right, guys, I think that's going to be it for the show. Pinhead says, why do I always tune back in right when you're about to get off? I'm not sure, but you can hit the rewind button if you want to see what you missed, good sir. Of course, we will be back tomorrow, same time. If I don't get a shift, if I do get a work shift, then it might be actually earlier. And I'm going to be looking for one, so it might actually be in the daytime. Infamous says, peace, Mystic, full time. Yo, put some respect on those predictions. I appreciate it. Infamous, Bada Jr., Pinhead, everyone else that joined the show. Bada Jr. says, life goes on, towel or no towel, but the fact that he didn't make weight remains. Yes, sir. John Doe, giving sure name, everybody else. Thanks for joining the show. We'll be back tomorrow. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. We are out.